What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we will be going over a way too early 2027 NBA mock draft. I thought this would be a fun idea with the NBA in the offseason, not really much news or anything going on. So I thought it would be a good idea to take a look at the future and take a look at next year's incoming rookie class and try to project where some of these guys will fall. So we'll be going over a full first round mock draft here today. So let's hop right into it. So for this mock draft, I use the no ceiling simulator, and you could see they have the new 3-2-1 lottery odds. I think this is in reverse of the championship odds for this year. And I ran a simulation and got the Rockets with the first overall pick, and they also have the number 8 overall pick via the Nets, and they got the first pick from the Phoenix Suns. Raptors at 2, Hornets at 3 and 6. As you can see, the rest of the teams here in the first round. We'll be going over a full first round mock draft here today. So, yeah, without further ado, let's hop right into this mock draft. So, with the first pick in the 2027 NBA draft, I have the Houston Rockets selecting Tyron Stokes. He will be playing at Kansas this year. Number one prospect coming out of high school, and I think it's his number one pick to lose. I think he is, in my opinion, definitely the clear number one prospect right now. At his senior year at Rainier Beach High School, he averaged 31 points, 13 rebounds, 6 assists, and 4 steals per game. Absolutely dominant at the high school level. He looked great at the USA U19 national team, averaging 10 points, 4.5 rebounds, and 3 assists in only 15 minutes per game. He's a smooth player. He's listed at 6'7", 230 pounds. He's a freight train coming down the lane. He can finish through contact. He can finish at the rim. He's a good athlete. He can score at all three levels effectively. And yeah, I think he's definitely going to be one of the top, if not the top, draft pick in the 2027 NBA draft. I'm excited to see what he can do at Kansas. Hopefully maybe have a better year than a guy like Darren Peterson just had, as it was a little bit of an up and down year for him under head coach Bill Self. So we'll see how Stokes does with the Jayhawks this year. And for the Rockets, might be surprising seeing them get the number one overall pick, but with, the new lottery odds, I think chaos is definitely, a possibility. It'll be interesting to see if at this point next season if Kevin Durant is on the team or how they want to go about that situation. But either way, getting a guy like Stokes, you can't pass up on that talent. So really excited to see him in the league and definitely for the Jayhawks this year. So I have Stokes going number 1. At number 2 for the Toronto Raptors, I have them taking Jordan Smith Jr. out of Arkansas. He will be playing under Coach Calipari this season. He's listed at 6'2", 205. I definitely think he's the best point guard prospect in the class right now. In his EYBL circuit, he averaged 20 points, about 4 assists per game, 7 rebounds, 1.8 block shots. He does a little bit of everything. He's got great size and physicality. For the USA U19 team, he averaged 8 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists in 18 minutes per game. And yeah, I think he's a great two-way player. He's tough. He's physical. He can finish through contact. He can score at all three levels effectively. And obviously playing under Coach Calipari, who has a history of being able to develop guards at a high level, I think that's only going to help him even more. And yeah, I definitely think he's going to be probably easily a top 5 pick, in my opinion. I think he's that talented, and I'm really excited to see him play for the Razorbacks this season. And, I don't think the Toronto Raptors will be picking this high. You never know with these lottery odds. I think they'll definitely be in the playoffs, especially if that Kawhi trade goes through. But I think they could definitely use an upgrade at point guard with Emmanuel quickly there. And I think Jordan Smith Jr. would be a franchise-changing pick for them. Next up for the Charlotte Hornets at pick 3, I have them selecting Caleb Holt out of Arizona. Caleb averaged 21 points, 9 rebounds, and 4 assists during his high school career at Prolific Prep. He also shot 48% from the field, 41% from 3, and 80% from the line. At the USA junior national teams, he averaged 10 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 steals per game. And at the Adidas circuit, he averaged 19.7 rebounds, 3 assists, also shooting 51% from the field. Holt is listed at 6'5", 200 pounds. He's a really good shooter and floor spacer. He's a smart player, being able to move without the ball. He can, defend at a high level. He's a good athlete. He's got good size and strength already for, his age. And I definitely think that Stokes, Jordan Jordan Smith Jr. and then Caleb Holt are the top three prospects in the 2027 class right now. So I'd have them going, 1, 2, 3 in some sort of order. For the Hornets, I think this would be an interesting fit as they kind of have their two cornerstone pieces already on the wing with Con Knipple and Brandon Miller. But I think in this case, you definitely got to go best player available, figure out the fit later, and that's the case here. And I think Caleb Holt is definitely going to be a really solid player in the league. Excited to see what he can do for the Wildcats at Arizona this season. Next up, the Chicago Bulls at number 4. I have them taking Stefan Joksimovic out of Slovenia, the first international prospect here in the 2027 class. I definitely think out of, the top 3 guys and then Joksimovic, I think they all have a chance to potentially have their case to be the number 1 pick. And I definitely think Joksimovic has the skill set and build and size to be in that conversation. He stands out at about, 6'7", 205 pounds. He can play, either backcourt spot. He can also, play a little bit of off ball in the wing if you need him to. He's got great versatility on offense. He can handle the ball. He's also got a good outside shot, so he can play off the ball, can move a little bit. He's got a pretty good athleticism. He can, finish over guys at the rim. He's got pretty good speed running out in transition. I don't think he's going to, blow you away with his, quick first step, but he's a smart, creative player. He knows angles well. And, he's crafty with the ball in his hands. He can create for others. He can create his own shot. So I think he's going to be a really intriguing prospect in this year's class. And personally, for the fit in Chicago, I think it's really intriguing. Potentially, pairing him up with Josh Giddey in the backcourt, just giving them a ton of size and creation there in the backcourt to go along with more size at the forward spot with Buzelis and Caleb Wilson. I think that would be a really good kind of like first 4 for them going forward, and would definitely be a really interesting fit for him in Chicago. So I'm excited to see what he can do this season, and potentially be in the conversation maybe for the number 1 overall pick. Next up at number 5, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Getting this pick from the LA Clippers are selecting Bruce Branch III out of BYU. For other NBA fans, the Thunder getting another top 5 pick probably isn't that exciting. But here in the sim, that is what happened. Bruce Branch averaged 9 points, 9 rebounds, and 2 assists for the FIBA U18 America Cup team for the U.S. He also put up 16 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists for the Compton Magic on the Adidas circuit. And he's an absolute knockdown shooter. He's also a good shot creator. He is listed at 6'7", 195 pounds, so he's definitely going to have to put on, a little bit of weight to be able to deal with some of the physicality at the next level. But he's a solid finisher at the rim. He's a good athlete. He's got great size and length, and he's been a pretty good rebounder, throughout his high school career and with the America Cup team. So I think that's going to translate well to the college level. I think playing under head coach Kevin Young and playing in the BYU system is definitely going to help him out a lot. It's very, NBA oriented. It's got a lot of, pace and space. They like to play fast, like to get up a ton of threes, which I definitely think helps out Bruce Branch's game a lot. And I think that he's going to be an awesome addition to the Cougars this season. Being able to also have a point guard like Rob Wright who can get him open looks and can set him up, I think is also going to help him out a ton. So I think he's in a really good situation for BYU, and I would not be surprised if he is one of the top picks in this 2027 class. Next up, the Charlotte Hornets back on the clock at number 6, and I have them getting Jason Crow Jr., who will be playing at Missouri this season. Crow is an absolute bucket getter. He's listed at 6'4", 190 pounds, one of the top recruits in Missouri's history, probably ever since Michael Porter Jr., who really didn't even play for them. So definitely really exciting for the Tigers this season. But yeah, Crow has a ton of scoring records. He set California's all-time scoring record with over 4,700 career points. He earned co-MVP honors at the McDonald's All-American game. He averaged 43 points, 6 assists, 4 rebounds, and 3.5 steals during his senior season at Englewood High School, which was ridiculous. He scored a Hoop Hall Classic record, 48 points, which broke the previous record, actually set by Jason Tatum and Jaleel Bethea. He was, California Mr. Basketball, California Gatorade Player of the Year, every award you could win. And yeah, he's just an unbelievable scorer, and offensive player. I think, at the college level, he's definitely maybe going to have to focus a little bit more on like the defensive aspect, although he is, active in the passing lanes, averaging, a ton of steals in high school. We'll see, how that's able to translate to the college level with, better competition, everything like that. But, for the Hornets, they're also already got Caleb Holt at number 3. So I think now is time for them to, find their future point guard, with them having traded away LaMelo Ball. And I think Jason Crow Jr. will definitely, fit that mold and be that for them. I think he's definitely going to be, a potential top 10 pick in this draft. So excited to see what he can do for the Tigers this year. Next up, for the Portland Trailblazers at number 7, I have them taking Anthony Thompson, who will be a freshman at Ohio State this year. Thompson listed at 6'9", 250 pounds, one of the, best Ohio State recruits in recent memory. He was the number 7 overall prospect and the number 1 ranked player in Ohio for the 2026 class. He was a McDonald's All-American. The highest rated Ohio State prospect since Jared Sullinger in 2010. This past season in his senior year at Western Reserve Academy, he averaged 25 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, shot 47% from the field and 35% from 3. And he played for Indiana Elite at the Adidas SSB circuit, averaging 22 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 blocks, and 1.6 steals per game. He's got great length and size at the forward spot. He's a good shooter from the perimeter. He can create his own shot. He's got, good athleticism. I definitely think he's going to have to put on a little bit of weight and be, a little bit stronger just in general. But, he can finish through contact pretty effectively at the high school level. And I think he's just going to continue to get better, get stronger. And I definitely think that Portland could definitely use some more forwards as they kind of have a log jam at the guard position with Damian Lillard, John Morant, Drew Holiday, Scoot Henderson, Shaedon Sharpe. So I definitely think that adding more forwards to their roster is definitely going to be helpful. So I think Anthony Thompson could step in and be a really effective player for them right away. Next up, for the Houston Rockets at number 8, their second pick here in this draft, I have them selecting point guard Dylan Mingo, who will be playing at Baylor this season. He played at Long Island Lutheran in high school, and for his Nike EYBL team, he averaged 19 points, 8 rebounds, 2.5 assists, and 2.3 steals per game. He was heavily limited his senior year at Long Island Lutheran due to some injuries, so that's definitely going to be something to keep an eye on, see if he can be healthy here at Baylor this season. But in his junior year in high school, he averaged 14 points, 5 rebounds, over 3 assists, and 2 steals per game. He's got some good size. He's listed at 6'5" with a 6'10" wingspan. So he can definitely play point guard or off ball if he needs to be. And it's be really exciting to see him play alongside his brother Caden Mingo at Baylor this season. That'll be fun under head coach Scott Drew, who's done a good job of developing guards, throughout his tenure at Baylor. So I think, Dylan's in a really good spot to just learn and develop under a guy like that. And, obviously Houston needs some more backcourt creation. We saw that in the playoffs last season. They got Fred VanVleet coming back from injury, but I definitely think they could use some more. And I think that Dylan Mingo would be the perfect hit here in Houston after getting Tyron Stokes with the number 1 pick. Next up at number 9, I have the Memphis Grizzlies selecting Brandon McCoy Jr., who will be playing at Michigan this season, one of the highly ranked recruits coming out of high school this year. At Sierra Canyon this past season, he averaged 19 points, 7.5 rebounds, 3.5 assists, and over 2 steals per game while shooting 62% from the field. At the Nike Hoop Summit, he dropped 11 points, 2 rebounds, 5 assists, 4 steals, and 3 blocks. His sophomore year at St. John Bosco, he averaged 19 points, 8 rebounds, 2.5 assists, and 2.5 steals per game. So can do it on both ends of the court. He's listed at 6'5", 190 pounds. I definitely think that he has the size and just overall ability to play the point guard position at a high level. I think my only concern with just his draft stock would be at Michigan, he will likely be playing backup to Elliot Cadeau, who is returning to Michigan this season. So I'm just wondering how that will affect his draft stock, maybe not getting the playing time that some of these other guards will be getting in his freshman season. but the talent is undeniable. He was like the top ranked recruit for a while in this class. Has dropped a little bit, but still, I think that talent is really solid. And obviously, the Grizzlies, having traded away John Morant, are looking for that franchise point guard, and I think Brandon McCoy Jr. has the potential to do so. So excited to see what he can do in his freshman year. And yeah, I think he's going to be a really solid player here for the Grizzlies. Next up at number 10, I have the Sacramento Kings selecting Cameron Williams, who will be playing at Duke this season. He was rated the number 4 overall prospect and the number 1 power forward and number 1 player in Arizona this past season. He was named the 25-26 Gatorade Arizona Boys Basketball Player of the Year. He averaged 25 points, 12 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 blocks, and almost 2 steals per game as a senior, while leading St. Mary's to a 23-7 record and a state championship in Arizona. He also averaged 15.7 rebounds and almost 3 blocks while competing for the Compton Magic and the Adidas circuit. He's got great size and length, listed at 7 foot, 215 pounds, and he's a really good athlete. And I think he's going to be an awesome player for Duke this season. Again, kind of similar to Brandon McCoy, a little bit concerned about how much playing time he will be able to get at Duke just because of the stacked roster that they have. They have a ton of guards and a ton of really solid big men like Patrick Gungba. They're also getting Boom J, who might be the top pick in the 2028 draft class. So it'll be interesting to see just how much playing time Cameron Williams is able to get, but I think that talent is undeniable. I think he's got great length and size. And I think it would be a really exciting building block to go along with their franchise point guard and Darius Acuff and try to keep building around him by, just helping him out on the defensive end by adding some length there. And also a guy who can spread the floor and just be a rim runner for him in the pick and roll. So I think this would be a great pickup for Sacramento. Next up for the Indiana Pacers at number 11, I have them selecting Braylon Mullins out of UConn, the first returner / non-freshman or international player. He'll be going into his sophomore season at UConn. In his freshman year, he averaged 12 points, 3.5 rebounds, and 1.4 assists per game, while also averaging a steal per game. He shot 42% from the field, 34% from three, and 89% from the line, and he definitely looked better as the season went on. He was also good in conference play, averaging 13 points, 3.5 rebounds, 1.4 assists, and 1.3 steals. Shot 44% from three and 38% from three on 7 attempts per game. So yeah, definitely you got more comfortable and was more efficient as the season went on. And I think for Indiana, just getting more shooting and floor spacer around Tyrese Halliburton and their existing core is obviously super important. I feel like he is like the perfect Indiana Pacer. He is tough-minded. He can create his own shot if he needs to. He's got good size and athleticism, and he's a solid defender if when he needs to be. But I just think he would fit perfectly in Rick Carlisle's system. And I think for more of a win now team, I think getting a player like Braylon Mullins would be a great pick for Indiana. I think he's definitely going to be a lottery pick in the 2027 class. I think he will definitely boost his stock with another season under head coach Dan Hurley with UConn. And yeah, I would think this would be an awesome selection for the Pacers. Next up for the New Orleans Pelicans, I have them selecting Luigi Swigo out of Italy, and now he will be playing at Villanova this season. He's listed at 7'3". He's got great size and length. He averaged 8 points, 5 rebounds, and 1 block in 18 minutes per game with KK Megabasket this past season. And really excited to see what he can do at the college level with Villanova this season. I think he's listed at like 7'3", 250 pounds. So obviously has great size and length. He's a good shot blocker, but he can also space the floor. He can step out and hit, threes. He can, be a good offensive hub. He shot 27% from three, so definitely something that he's going to need more consistency and has to work on a little bit more. But, when you have that kind of size and length, I think, that'll definitely come with more development. But yeah, I think he's going to be a great rim protector from, the minute he's in the NBA. I think he's going to be an awesome, rim protector in the Big East this season. I think head coach Kevin Willard is going to be able to use him effectively. So I'm excited to see what he can do at Villanova this season. And I definitely think that the Pelicans could use a center with like true size, 7 foot plus size as they have, Yves Misi. They have Derek Queen. They have, Zion if they want to run him at the 5. Some guys that are, they're all athletic, but they're all a little bit undersized. So I think getting a true rim protector, 7'3" monster could be really helpful for the Pelicans. Next up for the Atlanta Hawks at number 13, I have them selecting Amari Allen out of Alabama, who will be going into his sophomore season for the Crimson Tide. In his freshman season, he averaged 11 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, and 1 steal per game. Shot 45% from the field, 34% from 3, and 74% from the line. Now, I was pretty high on him going into the draft cycle for the 2026 class. I had a first-round grade on him, and I thought that he could definitely enter, but he decides to go back to school and play another year under head coach Nate Oates. And I think that's going to be pretty helpful for him. I think there's some reports that he might play a little bit more on the ball, a little bit more point guard. So excited to see, how he can expand his game a little bit with, LeBaron Philon not coming back from last season, and a lot of guys who, were producing or will not be returning for the Crimson Tide. So I definitely think there's going to be a lot more opportunity for him, both on and off the ball. I think he could, continue to develop as a facilitator, but also, as a defender and, a guy who can play off ball and on the ball. So just having that versatility, I think, is going to be super helpful for him. And I think he just fits perfectly with, the Hawks roster, just building guys who are switchable. They can do a little bit of everything, play some different roles out there. And I think he would fit really nice alongside Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Jalen Johnson. They just drafted Kingston Flemings, CJ McCollum. That whole core, I think he would be a perfect fit in Atlanta. Next up, the Utah Jazz at number 14 to round out the lottery. I have them selecting Mo Krivas out of Arizona. He is another college returner. I believe he will be going into his senior season. Last year for the Wildcats, he played in 39 games. He averaged 10 points, 8 rebounds, 1 assist, and almost 2 blocks per game. Shot 57% from the field, 31% from 3 on pretty small sample size, and 78% from the line. I definitely think he has that floor spacing ability to potentially continue to develop and have some sort of consistent 3-point shot at some point, either in his college career this year or at some point in his NBA career. But either way, I think he's, a really good center prospect for the Jazz here. He's listed at 7'2", 260. He's got great size and could be, a potential anchor to their defense, who obviously lost their, rim protector and Walker Kessler to the Lakers. Well, they did trade him, so they did get a bunch of assets for him. But that's definitely a hole that they're going to be looking to fill. And I think Mo Krivas can step in right away and be, a productive rim protector right away for Utah. He's got a good feel for the game. He can facilitate a little bit from the high and low post. And yeah, he's just going to be a strong physical center. And I think, next to guys like Lauri Markkanen and Jaren Jackson Jr. in the front court, who maybe aren't the most physical and best rebounding forwards, I think having just a physical presence like Mo Krivas can be really helpful for the Jazz. Next up at number 15, I have the Washington Wizards selecting Baba Olajuwon, who will be playing at Maryland this year, so keeping him close to home as he was also from Maryland. They referred to him as Baby KD, so, maybe not getting the real Kevin Durant, but getting, someone who can play like him to Washington finally. Listed at 6'10", 205 pounds. He's got great length and size, can, play multiple positions. Definitely, I think, going to have to put on a little bit of weight at the college level to just be more physical, create his own shot a little bit more efficiently. He did deal with some injuries throughout his high school career. As a sophomore at Blake, he averaged 22.5 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 steals per game. He is a little bit, younger for his class. I think he was originally in the 2027 class, but he reclassified up to this year's class to play for the Terrapins this season, but he will be draft eligible for the 2027 draft. And yeah, I think just adding another wing with just crazy size and length, just kind of adding to some of those guys in Washington could never hurt. And I think that would be just a great way of doing so here with Baba, adding it to guys like Keyshawn George, Will Riley, obviously AJ Debinsa now. And who knows if, Trey Young or Anthony Davis will still be on this team in a year's time. But yeah, I think the Wizards could be looking pretty scary in a couple years. And I think Baba will only help more with that. Next up for the Spurs at pick number 16, I have them selecting Trey McKinney out of Michigan, who will be going into his sophomore season. As freshman year at Michigan, he played 22 minutes per game, averaging 10 points, 3 rebounds, and 1 assist per game. Shot 46% from the field, 39% from three, and almost 90% from line. I'm very high on McKinney this year. I think he's going to have a really big breakout year for the Wolverines, just with them losing, obviously, Yaxel, Morez Johnson, and Ade Mara. There's a lot of production that needs to be filled, and I think McKinney can step in and just be a really high-level impact player, maybe even the top scoring option for the Wolverines this year. I think he's going to be an awesome player, and he's solid on both ends of the floor. He can, defend at a high level. He's got great strength and physicality when, finishing at the rim, and he's also a knockdown three-point shooter. So I think those are all things that the Spurs could just continue to add on the perimeter, just loading up with more wings to go along with their stacked backcourt with, Fox, Harper, and Castle. And then the big man depth they kind of addressed in the draft, behind Victor Wembanyama. So I think now adding some more wing depth could be helpful for them. And I don't know, how high McKinney is on boards right now, but I'm, very high on him this season. I think he's going to be an awesome player in his sophomore year. Next up for the Miami Heat at pick number 17, I have them selecting Elijah Arenas out of USC. He'll be going into his sophomore year. For USC, he, dealt with some stuff off the court and obviously some injuries that affected him really being able to play his full season his freshman year. He only played in 14 games. He averaged 14 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1 steal per game, shooting only 34% from the field and 21% from three. He did shoot 79% from the line on over 5 attempts per game. But I think just having a full, healthy off season to just continue to work and develop under head coach Eric Musselman, and having some more experience under his belt is definitely going to help him boost his draft stock. I think he's a really, high-level shot creator. He's got a really smooth handle with the ball. He can, create for others. He can score at all 3 levels. And USC has a ton of talent coming into their roster this year. So I'm really excited to see them as a team play. And I think that could also help Arenas out, just having some more talent around him to kind of work with him and help create open shots for not only himself, but for teammates. And, I think Miami could definitely use some backcourt creation with obviously Giannis and Bam in the front court. But right now, their backcourt consists of like Davion Mitchell, Pele Larson, Andrew Wiggins, maybe Tim Hardaway Jr., solid NBA players, but I think they need a guy who can, go out and create his own shot when the paint is a little, jammed up with Bam and Giannis, and I think Arenas would be the perfect player to do so. Next up for the Philadelphia 76ers at number 18, I have them selecting Dame Sarr out of Duke. He'll be going into his sophomore season. Last year for the Blue Devils, he averaged 6 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 steal per game. Shot 40% from the field and 32% from three. I definitely think that Sarr could have a larger role this season. Hopefully, getting some more minutes, and will likely be hopefully a starter for the Blue Devils. They do have a stacked roster, but I think he is that good to demand starting minutes. He was on the All ACC defensive team last year, and that's definitely where his calling card is going to be in the NBA, just being able to be a lockdown defender. And I think obviously with the 76ers having the biggest offseason, getting Jaylen Brown and LeBron James, having guys that they can throw in and just, for spotty minutes here and there to help get stops, I think is going to be really helpful for them. And I think Dame Sarr is going to be one of the top defenders in this class. And I think this would be just an awesome addition to have alongside Maxey and VJ Edgecombe and Jaylen Brown for the future. And, obviously with LeBron, the immediate right now, but just having a guy that they can throw out there and just, have them go against their top perimeter scorer with his size and length, I think is going to be super helpful for them. So I'm very high on Sarr in his sophomore year for the Blue Devils. Hopefully he can have a more consistent jump shot and offensive game this year. And yeah, I think he will be a first-round pick when it's all said and done this season. Next up for the Detroit Pistons, I have them getting another Duke Blue Devil and Patrick Gungba. He will be going into his junior season for the Blue Devils this year. Last year, he averaged 10 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, and over a block per game in 22 minutes. He shot 61% from the field, 26% from three on one attempt per game, and 66% from line. I think that 3-point shot is definitely a developmental point for Gungba. I think there is a world where he develops a consistent 3-point shot and he's able to be a floor spacing big. But right now, he's, listed at 6'11", 250. He's a great interior presence, good finisher at the rim, and good, player in the pick and roll. He's a good shot blocker and rim protector. He's got good instincts, size, and length to be able to disrupt shots. And I think, with the Pistons trading away Isaiah Stewart and them, kind of being up in the air about the Jalen Duren situation right now, I think having some more big man depth insurance could be really helpful for them. And that's where I feel like Gungba can come in right there and, help just add some more shot blocking behind Jalen Duren if, I think he will be on the Pistons this season, but who knows maybe how long after this contract negotiation. I think, the Pistons, in my opinion, didn't have the best offseason, didn't really get Cade that second option. They ultimately lost Tobias Harris, added some guys like Isaiah Joe, through trades and some other stuff. But definitely going to be interested to see what they do this season. But I think Gungba could help their front court depth for sure. Next up for the Golden State Warriors, I have them selecting Quentin Coleman, who will be playing at Illinois this season. And for the FIBA AmeriCup team, for the U18 team, he just averaged 11 points and a tournament best 11.4 rebounds and 2.4 assists. And the 11 rebounds were super impressive because, he's a combo guard, I would say right now, listed at 6'4", only 180 pounds. He's got really great length and, just a wingspan for, being a 6'4" point guard. And I think that's definitely going to help him in the long run. He averaged 23 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 steals as a senior, shooting 64% from the field and 50% from three, which was, that's just ridiculous efficiencies. I think he's going to be a really good shooter at the college level. And, maybe similar to Keaton Wagler this past season, just, a combo guard with good length and size. He really stood out at the Illinois system under head coach Brad Underwood. I think Quentin Coleman has a chance to do the same thing. And I think, obviously the Warriors could be looking for their next, franchise point guard after Steph Curry. So I think Coleman has the chance to kind of step in and maybe take over for Steph. Obviously some pretty big shoes to fill, but yeah, I really like Coleman's game. I think he's got great length and I think he could play at the college and NBA level. So I'm excited to see what he could do for Illinois this season. And yeah, I have him as a first round pick right now. At pick number 21, I have the Orlando Magic selecting Tunde Yesufu, who will be at St. John's this season after testing the draft waters and decided ultimately to come back to school. His freshman season at Baylor, he averaged 18 points, 6 rebounds, 1.6 assists, and 2 steals per game. Shot 47% from the field, 29% from three, and 75% from the line. Now, Yesufu is, a freight train. He's got great size and strength, listed at 6'5", 215 pounds. I think ultimately that jump shot is going to be what is going to make or break his, NBA draft stock, and maybe ultimately his career. He's a great athlete. He's a great defender with great switchability, size, and strength to defend multiple positions. And I think that, if he develops a consistent 3-point shot, that's really the only thing holding him back from being, a potential lottery pick. I think at St. John's, he's going to have a ton of opportunity under head coach Rick Pitino. Probably will be the number one, scoring option. With, Syracuse transfer Donnie Freeman having tore his Achilles, being out for this season, they were probably going to be like the top 2 scoring options. So I think Yesufu is going to be the clear number 1 now. And I think that gives him, a ton of potential to hopefully rise in draft boards. I have him going at 21 here to the Magic, just getting another athletic wing who can, score the ball. Maybe not, a floor spacer that they necessarily need, but I think probably one of the best players available at this point in the draft. So I think this is a good selection here for Orlando. Next up for the Oklahoma City Thunder at pick number 22. I have them selecting Thomas Houck out of Florida. I think the oldest player going in the first round that I have here, I think he'll at least be 23, maybe even 24 years old on draft day. But obviously the Thunder looking for win now experienced players, and I think Houck is, definitely fits that mold. Last season for the Gators, he averaged 17 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, and a block per game. Shot 46% from the field, 33% from three, and 77% from the line. He can do a little bit of everything out there. He's a really good defender, really good athlete, knows how to kind of play his role. He can, effectively play off the ball, which is definitely what he would be doing at the Thunder. I think that 3-point shot being more consistent, definitely kind of like I mentioned for some of these other guys, the only thing really holding him back from being probably drafted higher. But he's got a ton of experience. He's a winning player, and I think definitely fits with the Thunder's kind of culture and what they like to do on both ends of the court. He's a solid defender. He can defend multiple positions, and I think would just be another perfect fit as a team that definitely needs some wing help and wing depth after trading away a lot of their guys this offseason. So I think Howe can step in right in and fill some of those voids. At number 23, I have the Phoenix Suns selecting another international prospect here, and Hugo Yimga Mukori out of France. He is playing in the LMB Elite League for Nanterre 92 right now. This past season, he played in 29 games, 18 minutes per game, averaging 9 points, 4 rebounds, about 0.3 assists and 0.4 steals per game, shooting 53% from the field, 41% from three, and 85% from the line. So a very efficient shooter and, very good, well-rounded offensive player. He's listed at 6'8". He's got good size and strength right now, only being 18 years old. And I think he's got a lot of room to grow. He was definitely more of like a role player in his time in the French league right now. And I think that's, going to help him for the NBA, probably being a little bit more off the ball. And just, he was a knockdown shooter, and I think he could be a really effective floor spacer at the NBA level. I think I would like to see just a little bit more production, and, hopefully he has a much larger role this season. As he looks to be a 2027 draft prospect. But I've liked what I see so far from him. I think he's definitely going to be a little bit of maybe a developmental prospect, but he's got good athleticism, good size, and I think he could be an effective two-way player at the next level. So I think the Suns are getting a really effective forward here at number 23. Next up for the Nets at number 24, I believe this is via the swap from the Houston Rockets. I have them selecting center Malachi Marino out of Kentucky. Another guy who was testing the draft waters, ultimately decided to come back to school this year. He's listed at 7 foot, 250 pounds, and in his freshman season, he averaged 8 points, 6 rebounds, 1.8 assists, and 1.5 blocks. Shot 58% from the field, didn't really attempt any threes, and shot almost 70% from the line in 23 minutes per game. I think he was a really effective player in his freshman season. He's got, good size and mobility for his, size. He can facilitate well out of the high and low post. He's a solid rim protector. And I think just with another year of, experience and playing time, hopefully just getting more reps there under head coach Mark Pope, I think he's going to be a really, polished center. I liked his game a lot his freshman season. I had just a high second round grade on him for the 2026 class. So I think just with more experience, maybe in a slightly weaker big men draft class, he has a chance to be a first round pick. And that's where I have him here now. I think he's a really solid NBA prospect. And I have, obviously the Nets definitely need some center depth, having traded away Nick Claxton. So I have him here going number 24 to Brooklyn. Next up at number 25, the Suns are back on the clock, and I have them selecting Tyler Tanner out of Vanderbilt, one of my favorite players to watch last season. He averaged 19.5 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists per game, and 2.4 steals. He shot 49% from the field, 37% from three, and 85% from the line. Did a little bit of everything for the Commodores last season, and, decided to come back to school once again. And hopefully with another year of being just, the number one go-to option, maybe being slightly more efficient from the three-point line, just doing more on both ends of the court, he's going to solidify himself as a first-round pick. I think he was definitely a borderline first-round pick last season, but that's probably why he decided to come back to school to get that more guaranteed money now with the NIL. But for the Suns, I definitely think they could use a little bit more backcourt creation and depth. They have, Colin Gillespie as one of the only true point guards on their team right now. Obviously, Devin Booker and Jalen Green can both be pseudo point guards, but they're probably best served more off the ball. So I think just having another creator who can come in and set up guys, but also be able to create his own shot, knock down shots from the perimeter, and just be an effective defender. Obviously, he's a little bit undersized, and that's one of the key points against him. But he can be an aggressive defender, can get in passing lanes, come up with steals, using just his quickness and quick hands. And I definitely think Tanner's an NBA player, and I have him here going to the Suns at number 25. Once again, the Brooklyn Nets are on the clock here, kind of going back and forth with the Suns. And at number 26, I have them selecting Colbin Landrew, who will be a freshman at UConn this season. As a senior at Wheeler High School, he scored 24 points a game, got 6.5 rebounds, 3 assists per game. And he also played for the USA FIBA U18 AmeriCup team, where he played in 22 minutes per game, averaged 12 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 steal per game, shooting 52% from the field and 43% from three. He's kind of a big body wing. He's listed at 6'6", 236 pounds, which just gives him a ton of versatility on both ends of the floor. He moves very well for his size. He can defend multiple positions. He's a knockdown shooter, and I think, playing in the UConn offense is definitely going to just help him out under head coach Dan Hurley. I think he's going to be a really effective player next to guys like Braylon Mullen and, Nicholas Kamenia. I definitely think he has a chance to grow into a first-round prospect, just with his two-way ability. And I think a lot of teams are going to find that, really helpful at the next level. So I would not be surprised if by the end of this cycle, he's, towards maybe a lottery pick. I definitely think he has that ability on both ends of the floor. He's got a lot of, skills that are very helpful for NBA teams and, that front offices are looking for right now. But for right now, I have him going number 26 to Brooklyn here. At number 27, I have the Utah Jazz selecting Caleb Gaskins, their second first-round pick of this video. They got Mo Krivas earlier in the first round and now adding some more front court depth. Gaskins, during his senior season at Christopher Columbus High School in Miami, averaged 22.5 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 assists per game. He played at the same high school that the Boozer twins went to and was one of the more highly touted recruits coming into this, as a freshman this season. He'll be playing for the Miami Hurricanes this season. For his EYBL team of Knight Riders Elite, he averaged 16 points and 7 rebounds per game. And for the U18 AmeriCup team, averaged 8 points, 3 rebounds, and 1 assist per game in 17 minutes. He's got great size and strength. He's very physical. He's listed at 6'8", 220 pounds. He's got, good athleticism, and I think he's definitely going to be a more physical forward. And I think that's kind of what they need. They have, a lot of kind of more creative guys off the dribble with, Ace Bailey and Markkanen, and then Jaren Jackson Jr. not really being the most physical four. He's a good shot blocker, but not really going to back you down or be a physical rebounder. And I think Gaskins loves playing through contact. He's a physical player. He's a good finisher at the rim. He's got a high motor, and I think that's really going to translate well at the next level. So I think this would be a great kind of depth forward piece to kind of play alongside and behind some of those forward pieces already in Utah. So I have Gaskins here going number 27 to the Jazz. At number 27 number 28, I should say. The Thunder, I have them selecting Mika Mernon with their third first-round selection here. We'll see if they actually make 3 first-round selections on the 2027 draft. But either way, they are selecting Mika Mernon here, who is listed at 6'11", 200 pounds, who will be playing at Arkansas this year. He spent the last season in Finland, I believe, which is where he's from. At the FIBA Eurobasket, he played for the Finnish national team, averaging 6.5 points and 2 rebounds in 8 games. in 8 games for them. He played 12 minutes and scored 9 points as Finland upset Nikola Jokic and the Serbia team in round of 16, and then they ultimately lost to Greece and Giannis in the, what would that be, the semifinals or the round of 8 there. So yeah, very talented player. He played a lot of overseas, but was one of the highest ranked recruits coming out of high school this class. He's going to be a really interesting player to watch at Arkansas. It'll be interesting to see how, Coach Calipari kind of gets everyone, involved. They've got a ton of talent with obviously Jordan Smith Jr. They have Billy Richmond coming back. Mika Mernon here. They also have JJ Andrews, who could also be a potential first-round pick as well. But I think for the Thunder, just getting some more size and length and shooting ability, Mika can do great job of spacing the floor. He's got good size and athleticism. Definitely will have to put on some weight at the next level. But yeah, I think a really intriguing prospect here for the Thunder. Next up, the Boston Celtics at number 29. I have them selecting Darren Rippey Jr., who will be playing at Duke this season. He was rated number 10 overall prospect and the number 1 player out of New Jersey this past season. For Blair Academy in his senior season, he averaged 16 points, 6 assists, and 5 rebounds to go along with 2 steals per game. He led them to a 30-2 record in the Mid-Atlantic Prep League Championship. Just a really talented point guard. He's listed at 6'3", 185. I think he's got good athleticism. I think he's going to be able to have, a good shot, be able to score at all 3 levels. And I think he could be a solid defender at the next level. He's really quick. He's got, quick hands to force steals. I think he's going to be able to create his shot really effectively. And so it'll be interesting to see, again, with some of these Duke guys, how much playing time they truly get. Obviously, they are returning guys like Caden Boozer. They're getting John Blackwell from Wisconsin. So Rippey might have, some competition in the backcourt. We'll see how many minutes he gets, but I think he is that talented to kind of rise above and be able to be a first-round draft pick. And I think the Celtics could use some more backcourt creation. They have Peyton Pritchard, and they might be relying on 38-year-old Mike Conley to be a backup point guard and a real rotational player for them. So I definitely think they need some guys who can create, handle, and facilitate the offense behind Peyton Pritchard and like Derek White. And I think Rippey could definitely do so at the end of the first year. And lastly, to round out this first-round mock draft, I have the Clippers selecting Ivan Karchenkov out of Arizona at pick number 30. Last season, as a freshman for Arizona, Karchenkov averaged 10 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1.4 steals per game. Shot 49% from the field, 32% from 3, and 72% from line. Karchenkov has really good size and strength, listed at 6'7", 220 pounds. I think similarly to some of these other guys I mentioned, that 3-point shot consistency is definitely going to be kind of a swing scale to see if he can maybe rise up draft boards, if he can start knocking down shots at like a 36 or 37% rate and maybe have a bit more volume. I think that could definitely boost his stock to be like a potential top 20, maybe even a lottery pick when it's all said and done. But for right now, I have him going here to the Clippers at number 30. I think he could just be a really solid floor spacer and, 3-and-D wing. He plays with a lot of intensity on both ends of the floor. And I just think that, every NBA team could use a guy like him. Obviously, the 3-and-D wing is definitely in high demand right now. So I think that wherever he ends up and lands in this draft, he will get, solid playing time and minutes pretty early on in his career. So I have Karchenkov going here to the Clippers to round out this first round mock. And with that being said, that is going to be it for me today, everyone. Let me know in the comments who you guys are excited to see for this 2027 NBA draft cycle. If you think I didn't mention anyone who you have going pretty high. Obviously, a lot could change by the time we get to the 2027 NBA draft, so I would not expect this to stay the same at all. It's just going to be exciting to kind of look back and see how much this changes during the draft cycle because, people are going to come out of nowhere and be, potential lottery picks maybe. So yeah, just all fun here right now. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. If you did like this video, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.